All right, thanks everybody. We'll get started. My name is Giuseppe Marzelli. Thank you so much for joining our sales webinar today. It's going to be focused around Vino, which is a software for wineries that also has integrated payments. A little bit about myself. I am the co-founder of Ovation CXM. We work with a lot of different payment brands, a lot of different banks, ISVs, ISOs, and we've been helping them with support, AI, and our software that builds a better customer experience. So I've met a lot of you, and for you that do not know our group, we try to help out a lot of our partners by helping them find different products that they can sell to different types of verticals. And that's obviously why we brought Vino today. It's a very specific vertical, but something that might be very helpful depending on where your agents are or where you guys are selling and what regions you're selling in as well. So for today's webinar, you can utilize the chat or the questions panel if you want to ask questions. We might not ask questions until the end. I'll try to call out some as we go through the demo, but feel free to, again, use those. And the chat, I believe, is public. The questions, I believe, is private. And then if we miss anything, we'll reach out to you after the webinar. And after the webinar as well, I'll make sure that you guys get a recording and a follow-up sales deck. We're just going to jump into a demo today, but we'll make sure that you guys have all the material that you need. We feel that a demo would probably be the most insightful and get you, the best amount of information in a short period of time. So first, I want to introduce Derek Hemney, who is the founder of Vino, and we'll have him start a demo here shortly.
Hey, Giuseppe, thanks for having me. I will jump into the demo here in a second. Just wanted to give a quick high-level view of what Vino is and kind of why we started it. So obviously, we had worked with wineries in the past, and each winery came to us kind of with very similar problems. One is there are very few technology partners that they could use. And the very few that they could use were very, very expensive. So we're talking, I could probably name the top five or the available partners on like one or two hands. And when I'm talking pricing, they're charging high monthly fees. They own the processing, so they are not partner friendly. And then they also charge additional volume fees on top of payments. So you can imagine sometimes we're talking 7, 8+% for a winery to just use this software. So we thought there's got to be a better way. And so that's why we started Vino. It's more of a modern day platform for these wineries. Again, some of the previous partners, previous solutions were very what we call legacy. So not very good looking, very clunky. And so we're kind of solving two birds with one stone, which is make a modern, clean software and make it affordable. And then for you guys, just make it accessible to partners. So allow you to go after wineries when historically it was a very tough industry to go after because of the lack of options that you could sell into it. So
And
with
before we jump
that,
into the demo, I'm
yep.
just going to show real fast, Derek. Again, I'll be sending out, just a reminder, I'll send you out the sales deck after the webinar, and then I'll make sure you guys have our information. We are recording this, so anyone who registered will get the sales deck and the recording. And again, feel free to ask questions as we get started. Derek, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and you should be able to take over.
Okay.
You see, I'll let you know when I see your screen. And then, yeah, just to build on top of what Derek said, wineries, I'd say wine owners in general, they're just friendlier merchants to sell to. They're a little bit happier than restaurants and retail. They own a winery. A lot of them do it as kind of their retirement, or a lot of them do it, for the love of wine. And so they want to focus on that. And so these tools are going to be really helpful in helping them focus on what they're good at, and run their business smoothly. But again, I think what's really neat for the payment industry, and for a lot of you agents who sell to all different verticals, I've learned that selling to wineries is pretty awesome, because again, it's more of a friendly conversation I found than a lot of restaurants, retail, and other verticals. But Derek, we can see your screen, and so I'll let you take it from here.
Perfect. I agreed with you, Giuseppe. Working with winery owners and selling to them has been a really amazing experience. If you're selling in person, then you can get a glass of wine while you're at it. So it's a win-win. So I'm going to walk you through the platform today. Where we started really is, okay, how does a winery sell to their customer? It's through their point of sale at their tasting room. It's through their wine club, basically memberships, and it's online through their website. So we've tackled all three pillars there, and then all the additional back office features that they'll need to go along with that. It's inventory, CRM, marketing, fulfillment, reservations, the list kind of goes on, but we're adding all of that under one roof so that it's kind of a one-stop shop experience. So I'll run through this at a high level. Here we're looking at the dashboard home screen. Again, this is going to be just a snapshot of all sales, important information that once they log in, they might just want to see at a glance. I'll make my way down here on the left-hand side. We'll start over here at inventory. So this inventory is going to be the hub of all product data. Again, wherever they sell, whether it's online or in store, it's all funneling back to here so that their inventory is as accurate as possible across the full spectrum of their business. If I scroll down, you'll see we support things like food, wine, we have retail, we can even go down into the glasses of wine. So all these product types that a winery might need. And if I click into, let's just say this Napa Zin, you'll see all the important information regarding that product that you might want to know. This is obviously an issue. We can't be -21 in stock, but that's this is kind of the data that you'll be able to see there. Now let's head over to the CRM. So this is where they can see everything they might need to know about their customer. So I just searched Derek, for example, and similar to inventory, this is really that hub of all customer information. Wherever that customer is buying from you, you're going to be able to know anytime they buy, where they're buying, how much they're buying. If I click into, let's say, Derek's profile, I'll be able to quickly see everything I need to know about them. So lifetime value is really important metrics for wineries. How many orders, average orders. I can see their order history, contact information, which membership they belong to, and if they have any preferences, everything here, analytics, etc. All right. Now I'm going to jump down to point of sale real quick. So we do have a built-in point of sale. This is really designed for a tasting room environment. We're going to add we've added some additional functionality that lends itself towards restaurants. We're not really going to compete in that full service restaurant category. But for smaller wineries that have a physical environment, that do some food, do some retail, obviously wine, we're going to do all that. I'll show you some of the key features that we offer. One is a tab system. So let's go ahead and create a tab. I'll create one for myself. And let's just ring up a couple items. Got a bottle, charcuterie, and let's just say a glass. I can also start one, let's say for Giuseppe. Giuseppe wants some Chardonnay. We also have this structure here. Instead of having a separate item for glass, we can utilize variants. So it'll track the products all under the same product line, but it'll identify whether it was a full bottle glass or any other type of variant that you might want to include. So Giuseppe wants a glass. Now I'm going to head back, and as simple as clicking on Derek's tab, now I can pull up his whole order. And this is where the kind of communication with the rest of the platform really shines. Is I can go ahead, if Derek I know is a club member, I can hit this button up here, tag Derek's profile into there, and now a couple neat things happens. One is I have instant visibility into their profile. I can see lifetime value, custom notes, card on file, etc. It also auto applies their member discount to that order, which is a perk for being a member. A couple other things I can do here related to being a member. Once I hit pay, I can light up the card reader, I can record cash, I can do manual entry, but when they're a member and they have a card saved on file, I can actually just charge that card right then and there. They never need to pull their wallet out. And that's a really nice VIP type experience to give to that customer. You'll also see here we do support dual pricing. That is a custom setting that you can adjust the rate. I'll throw in a couple other extra pieces here from the point of sale screen. So if I go ahead and select an item, I can send certain things to a kitchen. I can also comp items. And then if someone wants to ship a bottle of wine from this order, and then really the context is, hey, I'm out of town, I'm coming to do a tasting, I'm going to pay for my tasting, but I also want to ship some wine home. Instead of creating a completely separate order and managing that, from this point of sale screen, I can actually just select which bottles to ship right from here. They pay once, and um, but we can handle the fulfillment of that bottle kind of all in one fell swoop. All right. So now I'm going to head to clubs. Clubs tend to be one of the larger revenue drivers and favorite revenue drivers of a winery. It's because it's consistent revenue, and it's guaranteed revenue. Um, and so if you're not familiar, basically what it is, a typical wine membership is you're agreeing to basically buy wine X amount of times a year, X amount of quantities of bottles. And for that, you get a discount and maybe some extra perks. So, for example, with this Wine Society Club, members are getting 5 bottles every month. In this case, a lot of bottles. Usually it's quarterly, but the winery can customize that. And then for that, they get a 10% discount on these bottles as well as any time they buy. And down here, you'll see any special unique tags that the winery wants to add in there, whether it's events or free tastings, etc. They can add that in there. I'll show you how we run a club. It's as simple as 3 or 4 steps. So we're going to call this October 2025. Here, this pulls from your live inventory. So me as the winery will curate the initial selection. I believe this was 5 bottles. So let's go ahead and pick 5 bottles. And what happens now is once those bottles are selected, it will create orders for every single member in that club. So we've got each member, we've got a valid card on file, we've got their wine that we've selected for them, and how much they're going to be paying. Now, a lot of wineries want to offer flexibility when it comes to wine selection. So we have 2 mechanisms for that. One is the winery themselves can go in. If someone calls and say, hey, can I swap out that blend for a Moscato? I could do that right from here. Or we have a customer portal, which I've just toggled to. And in this customer portal, that customer can not only see all their contact information, billing information, and edit that, but in here, I can actually see the wine that was published, which 3 bottles this is were selected, and I can myself as the customer go in and change that wine. That just puts more control in the customer's hands, and the more control you give in your customer's hands, the more likely they're going to like the club and stay in the club. And in that lens, we also have the ability to skip the shipment right here, meaning, hey, we have too much wine. We're good on this month. We'll come back in the next month. And that's great because instead of losing them as a customer altogether, you just sacrifice 1 month or 1 shipment and you keep them for the long run. Once all orders are confirmed, we just go to the summary screen. It shows all the wines that are going to be included in that order as well as quantities, and then how much money is being billed for that order. I would just process this order, it'd bill all those cards on file, and then you're done. Order's processed. And that brings us kind of to one of our final steps, which is how do we get the wine to the customer? Ultimately, there are 2 main options, which is I'm going to ship the wine to you, or you're going to come pick it up for me at the tasting room. And based on our customer preferences, we have the ability to set a shipping or a pickup tag. And once we process those orders, it will auto detect that preference and put the orders in the respective buckets. So right now we're looking at shipping orders. So these are all the people that we're sending the wine to. And from here, there's a lot of things you can do with it. But ultimately, the end goal is I am going to transfer all these orders to my fulfillment partner, and they're going to ship the wine for me, or I'm going to send it to UPS. They're going to give me labels, and then I'm going to pack it myself. Those are kind of the primary 2 options. And then for pickup, we don't have any orders of pickup right now, but all this really is it'll be a running list. And actually, I can move somebody over here. So we're going to take Derek's order. He called. He's actually going to be there next weekend. So hey, I'm going to come pick up instead. So here's Derek's order. It's pending. When Derek is there, all I need to do is ask for his last 4 digits of his phone number, confirm. Good. And he's marked as picked up. It's timestamped. Good. It's resolved. It's fulfilled. All right. Next, I want to show you something that we're kind of heading into, and that's reservations. So historically, wineries are using third-party platforms. Most popular is Talk. You might be familiar with whether you're booking like a nice restaurant or a wine tasting. The problem is Talk is very, very expensive, and we're talking thousands of dollars. We're talking they own the processing fees. So all that's being sucked out of the winery. It's also being potentially taken away as a option for you to own that revenue. So what we've done is we're bringing reservations in-house, communicating directly into the Vino, and I'll just kind of walk you through this experience a little bit. We're going to support reservations and events, whether they're reoccurring daily tastings or like a one-time music event. Let's book a tasting. All you need to do is select your party size, your day, your time, any special notes, continue to payment. And then from here, we can collect the customer information, which is great for the winery. Or if I am a member, I can actually log in and it will pre-fill all their information. And all I need to do is hit boom, and I can pay for that, and it'll show up in the winery's back office where they can manage all the reservations. Going back to this, just a couple quick things to highlight on. One is we have an integration with Deja Vu iPOS Gateway. So that is our primary terminal, as well as gateway to connect to all the card not present transactions. What's great about that, it's one central source that allows us to do things like integrate into WooCommerce for e-commerce, as well as QuickBooks for that QuickBooks integration. And then from the terminal standpoint, we work with all P-Series terminals, whether it's the P1, the P8, the P12, you name it, all will work with Vino. I think that's kind of the primary high level. I won't go too much deeper. I'd love to open it up to questions, or Joey, if you have any comments, you can go through those.
No, it looks good. And just to confirm, with the Deja Vu, is there a semi-integrated terminal available right now? What does that look like for the Vino product?
Yeah, so we use this what we call the spin integration. So the Deja Vu terminal is integrated, but it is cloud. It's like cloud integration. So the software is not on the devices itself. It's going to be all browser based, like what we're looking at now. And then you'll initiate the payment, for example, from the point of sale screen. It'll send the dollar amount, and they can complete the tip and the receipt options right from the terminal,
Okay, that
and it'll
makes
send it
sense.
back. Mhm.
And so if I have a tasting room, I can use this kind of as a point of sale if I have like an iPad,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
this tab, this view right here, and then I would initiate the payment, and then that would obviously link up with the Deja Vu terminal to complete the payment.
Exactly. Yeah. This screen, since it's all browser based, especially this point of sale screen, it could be pulled up in an iPad, your computer, your desktop, your phone, anywhere you have internet.
Okay, great. And so we have a few questions. One question, will inventory need to be input manually, or can we transfer over from another database, or maybe if they had another system of that information?
Sure. So inventory and customer information can all be imported. So if we have templates and CSVs, that can just be a couple clicks of a button. And then even like payment tokens, we can transfer those over as well. It'll be highly dependent on that, where they're coming from in their gateway. But typically we're able to bring over the saved token.
And then we also saw another question. Well, it seems like when did a checkout, we all noticed there's either some cash discount or dual pricing options there.
Mhm.
So with dual pricing, when they pay by cash, does it automatically gives a discount to the amount shown in the tab? Or how does that work from a dual pricing or cash discount perspective?
Yeah, it'll be reflective of the setting that they select. So if they want to do a discount, then we can show it as a line item discount. If they're on dual pricing, then obviously it'll just reflect the card price or cash price.
And then it looks like are owners able to transfer over membership discounts, perks to Vino, or will they have to put that in manually as well?
I'm trying to understand specifically what that question's saying. So,
In the way that I read that
yeah.
question was maybe if they were using another winery software,
Hmm.
or if they had membership discounts or perks from another platform, which again, I think they just have to put it in manually. We're not really, I don't think, right? I don't think any software we're working with is trying to, work with their competitors from an integration perspective.
Yeah, if they are getting that membership discount, that's easy. You're just creating the club with that same discount. If there's anything else, there's not much I think in that lens, like unless they're like talking about loyalty points or something. Obviously, we don't have that, so that wouldn't transfer over.
And then any module or looks like this is, hold on, let me just make sure I'm reading this right. Any module or option to solve wine storage company with an on-site tasking room for their own wine sales. Um, just trying to make sure I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe a particular business type in the wine industry, but not a winery, if I'm hearing that
Yeah, so
correctly.
Keith, I would just reach out to Derek, Derek at joinvino.com and just tell us a little bit more about the specific situation, and he can definitely help with that.
Yeah,
Um, And then another question is, do you have any, let me answer this live. Do you have any point of sale systems that you are partnering with or easy APIs in case I'm prospecting a large winery with full service restaurant and also a retail store? Yeah, this is actually very relevant. We've talked about this just recently with
yeah,
some of the clients that Derek has already.
yep, yeah. We are probably be moving forward with an integration with Vivid POS. And that has full restaurant capabilities, retail capabilities. So it'll be perfect for maybe your wine store or your restaurant that wants to also kind of launch some of this membership type feature.
And for Vivid POS, they have tableside ordering. They have all the restaurant software that you need,
Hmm.
whether it be takeout or, pay at the table, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah,
And then are you, like this live, are you able to work with Clover? I believe not today. It sounds like Deja Vu is the primary integration.
correct. Yep.
And Derek, when you say Deja Vu terminals, are you talking about the D1 point of sale terminals or which terminals from Deja Vu are you speaking about?
Yeah, here, let's actually pull it up just to give people some visuals here. So this entire P series are available. I would say most common that we're rolling out right now. So the P8 has been great. That is, let me go to a 3D view here. So nice size touchscreen, printer in there, very ergonomical as far as holding it, but it also sits great on a countertop. Um, the new P12 is really nice. It's actually kind of like a mobile type card reader. It looks like this. I guess that's a good view. And this actually pops out, so it's like a little square card reader, and it has this docking station. So that's been great.
What
And
what
then
are
you
some of the price points on these guys from an ISO?
Sure. So if you have a relationship with Deja Vu, you can kind of refer to them for your pricing. You can have us deploy the devices. Honestly, it might be slightly more expensive if you went direct to your vendor. But it's usually these P series are anywhere from 200 to maybe 450, depending on the model.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
And then Derek, let me answer this live. What's the monthly price for the Vino software that has been demonstrated today?
Sure. So our base software does actually not have has no software fee. We're strictly operating on a kind of processing model. Even if you bring your own processing, what we do is we just charge you it's a gateway fee. So we charge you 25 basis points on volume run through Vino, and that's all we charge. We don't charge the merchant anything. We don't charge you anything beyond the 25 basis points. That allows you to go into a really competitive conversation where you can go to the winery and say, hey, you get all of this, just the price of my processing. And that allows you to get more margin too. So we're talking consistently, we're 3.5% to 4%, whether they're doing dual pricing or not. And the reason we can do 3.5% to 4% is, again, the competitors are 7, 8% when you're looking at all of the costs to use a platform like this. So it should increase your margin, and then you would just pay Vino back 25 basis points.
Yeah, so that's obviously a huge benefit. Literally, there's no price for the software. You're going into a very competitive market with legacy systems that are very expensive. Now, again, some of those legacy systems they have really, advanced features that they've worked for years on. And so we're not saying that they're bad, but I think that a lot of the wineries that that are not huge commercial ones, they just need something simple. A lot of them are using CSV sheets, these CSV files or Google Sheets to, track all their memberships and shipping and all information and all of that. So this should be a no-brainer for them, considering they're just doing the credit card fees whenever they do a credit card charge. Um, another question, Derek, is despite the cost, a lot of wineries like using Talk because of visibility partnership with Amex customers' dining and event experience. Will Vino's the reservations software, offer similar benefits down the line?
Obviously, we'll look at all that. Probably not from a phase one rollout, but it's good to know that's kind of some of the reasons why Winer's using. I don't know if they're knowing they're getting those perks, but it's good to at least highlight, and yeah, we'll look at it.
Yeah, I think another way to do that is maybe you sign up with Resi by Amex, and then that way consumers who are buying from those wineries that have the Amex card or maybe getting some credits back for utilizing the Resi. I've
Hmm.
seen that with like the Amex Platinum, Amex Gold. They typically give out Resi credits, or they basically give you money back for using your card at a Resi location. Those are typically events or restaurants. So I don't think that would be too difficult to look at. But again, this
Hmm.
has been more, Vino's been built for the SMB, again, not big commercial winery. So I can understand if there's like a Robert Mondavi, in the middle of Napa that wants to do stuff like that. The average winery or small winery owner might not know all those benefits. But if you
Hmm.
know more about that, we'd love to learn from you. And so definitely feel free to reach out. Another question: Can a liquor store utilize, or sorry, a liquor store utilize to start their own wine whiskey club, basically the subscription model only as well as white label. So basically, I think what we're asking here is, can a liquor store utilize the software if they have a wine whiskey club? Um, and one example is Village Wine wants to utilize subscription model for wine and whiskey and sell in store. But what would it look like white label brand recognition? Um, okay, yeah. So I think what I'm taking from this question is that if you own maybe a liquor store, or maybe you own even a wine shop, um, can you have your own membership in there, brand
Hmm.
awareness? Maybe if you own a distillery, I assume you can as well, right? Or a brewery, and you have your own club. I think that all
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, and the branding for sure. This is just a placeholder, but the membership, especially the club experience, is all going to be branded for that particular business. So anywhere they saw Vino, for example, will be their brand.
And then I got, what terminals are compatible with the software or with Fiserv? So we've talked about the Deja Vu terminals that Derek pointed out are compatible with the software. I believe Fiserv is compatible with Deja Vu. So if you are boarding with Fiserv, you should be okay to use Deja Vu terminals in the Deja Vu gateway.
Hmm. Yep.
All right, another question. Would Vino's shipping management be disrupted by events like the recent AWS outage? ShipStation halted and was a huge complaint for C7 customers. Well, AWS is one of the largest servers in the world, and there's going to be it's not frequent that there's outages with any of these large services. Do you know, is Vino built on AWS?
We are built on AWS. I would say if you look at the long run, I'm sure it's probably one of the more consistent. Any like whether if we were on a different if we were on a different partner, like the risk is there as well. But I know it's obviously in recent my memory with AWS, but we are on them. Yes.
Yeah. So yesterday was a fluke. Unfortunately, it happens. Being in the payments industry, I've seen Pfizer completely go offline. I've seen TSYS go offline. Supporting a bunch of different payment groups, outages happen. Um, but if you look in, like, I think the last outage was in 2021. It was for a few hours. If you look at all the outages for AWS, and that was the US East one. So again, unfortunately, with technology, that's just kind of what we're dealing with. And when there's a monopoly of probably three companies who own a majority, 80 90% of the servers in the US, when one of them goes down, we're going to feel it everywhere. All right. In another question, in order to process payments on the actual device, for example, on a P1, do we need to start the transaction via cloud base and then be transferred over to the terminal for the customer to pay?
Yeah, it's all integrated and seamless though. So you initiate the payment from the point of sale screen that we're looking at. It will auto send the dollar amount to that terminal. And so all it will start is prompting for the card or the tip. So no manual entry.
And then what is a payment gateway? Does a card present transaction tokenize, and is the customer data card able to save to become a wine club member or order online with that token?
So I guess yes, we have the ability to tokenize cards and save them on file. Um, at the time of from the terminal itself, we don't have that enabled where like once they make a payment, a one-time payment from the point of sale, it doesn't auto save it in the database. The customer actually has to agree to sign up and add their card. But the functionality is there to save cards on file.
And so, and one thing to add on to that, because Derek, you've shown this before, you can have like QR codes out on the tasting room tape, floor. And so how easy is it for them to, just, yeah, sign up right there? So again, one-time
Mhm.
payment's not going to tokenize. Um, if I sign up, I can do it through the QR code, put in my credit card information. That now saves me on file. And the next time I go in, I'll tell them that I am a member, and then I can just check out that way, right? Because
Mhm.
I've been tokenized, but it's not going to tokenize at the time of sale. Just wanted
Yeah.
to go through that one more time. Can business owners download reports on customer analytics, and how granular can these reports get comparing purchases versus new existing club members analytics daily? So what is basically, yeah, what do reports look like today? How granular are they?
Sure. So I would say the reports are kind of poor information at the moment. Our real horsepower on the enhancements of reporting is going to be focused around AI and kind of conversational. So not only will you have like the preset templates that people are used to, but imagine having a chat where you can say, "Hey, what?" and you could ask it the most granular question you want. But if you could say at a high level, "What were my sales for this month?" You could chat into the bot, and it will tell you exactly what you need. And that could be how many bottles of rosé did I sell, or how many customers did I see on this date. So you can kind of let your imagination go with like how powerful that can be. And that's kind of the direction we're heading.
I'm putting your email in the chat too, Derek@joinvino.com, telling some people just to email you some more specific questions.
Okay.
I might have missed this part. I know you discussed the P series, but is a D1 also available for the
It it's
Deja Vu
just gonna
D1?
be it's just gonna be the P series for now.
All right, so we've got that done. Dismiss this answer. I would further the wine whiskey club question. Yep. So another question is the wine whiskey club. Can it work for a cigar club? Absolutely. So same thing. As long as there's a club, they want to take payments in person. They want to collect the information on those club members. They want to send out maybe it's a monthly. They send out the cigars monthly, or they have them come in and they get a variety of cigars or a discount because they want to smoke the cigars on site. Absolutely, that's common. What is the best way to reach out to wineries? I think honestly, I would start with email, cold email, calling. Wineries are typically open between the 10 to 4 p.m. range. And so with that, I just be sensitive towards like maybe don't obviously reach out to them on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe a Monday, Tuesday when it's a little bit slower at the wineries. Um, and I would just do a non-aggressive kind of email, introduce yourself, what you're doing. And if you have the ability, if you're in a region, we have a we were speaking with some agents that are over like in Sacramento that have Lodi close to them in Amador County. Over by Derek, there's people who are living in the Marin area that have better access to Sonoma, Napa, and so if you can set up some of those meetings beforehand. The hard part with wineries is you're not hitting a shopping strip where you're going to hit 5 restaurants at once and a few different retail shops. You're kind of going out to each individual winery. So I would beforehand send out some emails. Definitely shoot Derek an email if you want any specific language or help with what you should be, or how you should be reaching out to them. But again, they're a much friendlier group of people, it seems. And again, because they're just with their working hours, they don't have a bar that's terminal is not working at 2 a.m. in the morning. So
Hmm.
it's typically a better scenario. And
Yeah,
if
we're
you need
also
a demo,
seeing,
or go ahead.
I was going to say, we're also seeing some of the most organic interest of any one of our channels. So that means that wineries are seeking something like this out. So we'll just not a lot of like if you're in the restaurant POS game, you're just going to get clobbered from an SEO standpoint or a search standpoint by the Toasts of the world. But Vino is in this wine in this industry specifically. There's just not a lot out there, and so people can find you. People are interested, and they're very just even in cold emails, which historically you get very low response rates or interest altogether. Um, our cold outreach, whether it's email, phone, or even social media, is another avenue. Really a much higher percentage of responses.
And again, I think that just goes back to there are some great products and software out there, but they're just expensive and they're
Hmm.
legacy. And a lot of these small and medium sized wine owners just want something that works, that is modern, that is friendly, and is a good experience, obviously, for their customers as well with that customer dashboard. Um, so again, if you need demos for your customers, reach out to Derek at joinvino.com. He has a sales team that will be able to help you set up those demos. I'm getting more questions, but we're gonna shut it down. And then again, if you guys have more specific questions, Derek at joinvino.com, he can go over all of that with you. And again, he does have a team of sales reps that can also help you with those demos and help you facilitate how to speak with wineries, maybe what is the best cold calling methods, what are the best scripts, all of that. So again, thanks so much, Derek. Anything else you want to say before we jump off today?
One last thing, it's really good timing in the market right now. One of the largest, oldest uh, competitors in the space just unwinded their software platform and basically sold it, but they are requiring wineries to get off the platform. I believe it's maybe mid next year. And so that's why winery they're looking now. And it's a frothy market because people are trying to capture them, but they are looking, they need to switch. And they understand that some of the options out there are very expensive. So great time to pick up the phones and start reaching out.
And as a reminder, it is free software. You're just charging the transaction fees for the credit card charges, and Vino's just charging you 25 basis points. But again, integrated with Deja Vu, so a lot of the processors already work with that gateway, being Pfizer, TSYS, WorldPay, you name it. So if you need more information on that, please reach out. But thank you all for joining. I think this has been super informative. Derek, thank you for putting this together. And again, if you were on this or you registered, you will receive the recording, and I'll also send you a sales deck, momentarily or probably this afternoon when I get that all put together.
Great. Thanks, Giuseppe, and thanks everyone for your time.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Derek. Bye bye.
Bye.